How we all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Steve Nyanumba right here with Tech Chess, and today we're gonna have a little video, or rather a long video, based on Laravel 8 and Jetstream with Inertia JS. A small project here and there, very tiny project whatsoever. It's semi-complete, semi-incomplete. All I'm trying to cover with this video is the various differences between Laravel 7 and Laravel 8 using Jetstream, and what is made simpler, what is actually going to be making developers come towards Laravel more often than any other framework there is out there. Anything to do with Node.js, Ruby, and Ruby on Rails, or maybe even Flutter. Come from Flutter to Laravel, that would be interesting. But yeah, I hope this video has touched some people's minds, opened some people's minds up into learning Laravel Jetstream and applying either Livewire or Inertia based on your preferred setting. And I hope that things go well for you in your future projects, especially if you're going to be deciding to choose Laravel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hey everybody, this is Steve Nyanumba with Tech Chess over here, and today we're going to be looking at software development criteria for PHP, particularly a framework called Laravel, and it's on the version 8, and I wanted to get to have a look at it and see the features that are different basically from all the other different versions of Laravel. I know it's not a good point to start with coding, and I know it's not a nice thing to start up a coding video without doing like a basics or showing people the basics of everything. But and the videos that have been done all over that are concerning the basics, and I just thought, let me just do this video and actually get into what's new with Laravel 8 compared to Laravel 7 and the likes. So today I'm going to be touching on a few key points, these UI, routing, and just basic scaffolding of authentication and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is craft a new Laravel 8 project and just do Laravel new, and I'm going to be crafting it inside this folder over here. So the folder will have another folder called students. Sorry, my typing is a bit crap right now. So Laravel new students app is the name of the command that you'll be, it's the typing of the command that you'll be doing, and then it will actually craft it like this. If it's doing this, then you have everything set up correctly. Disclaimer: this is not meant for beginners. This is meant for people who have actually done a Laravel project before and they're able to go about their stuff seamlessly. But however, if you guys want me to do a crash course or anything like that, just hit me up in the comment section below. Maybe I will actually just do a crash course even if you don't tell me about it, but I'll just do a basic tutorial of the entire matter and just show you how to get started. Okay, so after that has been done, all I'm just going to do is open that students up with the Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to type code and then students app, and it's going to open up on this other side. So this is how it looks. Now first thing I want to do is actually check out how it's been scaffolded, and that's the first difference. Oh sorry, that's not the command, it's serve, not server or whatever, server or whatever, and it's not server but it's serve. Okay, so I butchered that command several times. Perks of using npm instead of Laravel. Alright, so this is how it's been scaffolded, guys. So you can see the UI is a bit different from what it was originally. If you guys have probably seen how Laravel has been crafted before, let me just go and show you guys how it looks. So it generally looks like this. If you guys have seen this, then you have a proper installation of Laravel 7 and below, scaffolded for you right there. Okay, so this is what we have to deal with. We have the logo, we have some few things over here, and I'm pretty sure this is using Tailwind CSS. So I think that's what's different from the previous versions, which were using Bootstrap instead. But you know, I want to actually go down and use this for a certain project of that can use both Tailwind and Bootstrap. Okay, let's get down to it. So I'm going to switch back to the code. This is it running on serve, and there's some few things that have been added into Laravel 8. There's this package called Laravel Jetstream that I want to actually get in there. That's the main reason why I'm actually doing this video, is because I want to actually show you how to get started with Laravel Jetstream, and especially with Inertia, because many people usually use Livewire and they just really ignored Inertia completely. So Inertia is I actually want to go to the documentation for Inertia. Inertia basically, instead of using a framework, a front-end framework like Vue JS or React JS, and using their own like routers, like the Vue router or the React router, you're going to be using the Laravel routes instead of the React router. That's the first difference. We're using Jetstream, and it's very convenient. You don't have to actually do anything much, and then also it sets up so nicely for you so that you can, you know, just get up and running with a very first working application. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be creating a student's application where we're going to just input students based on their courses and all those things. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing, and I just want to configure the backend before we can get into anything to do with Jetstream. So I'm going to open a new terminal over here, and I'm going to create some models and some migrations and also some controllers. So the first one is, I'm going to do PHP artisan make model, and I'm going to call it course, and this one will have its own migration. I'll also do the same for the student. Let it just finish up. So I'll just do the same for the student, and it will also have the students migration, the students table, and then I'll have the controllers. So this is how you make the controllers. PHP artisan make colon controller, make controller. It should have been a it should be a colon, not a semicolon, and I'm going to say it's called students controller. Note this, it's students, not student like this. So that's like convention, and I'm going to make it API because I'm going to be using it in in Vue JS and not in Blade templates or whatever. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to do the same with the courses controller, sorry. So it's going to be like that, and the controller has been created successfully. Now this is where you find your controllers in app HTTP controllers, and then you see these courses and students. This controller is there by default, so we don't touch this. We just touch this and this. So I'm going to open that and that. Okay, within the students controller we have this public function index. What I want this to do is when we hit it, it's going to go straight into getting all the students' data and returning it in a JSON, which is array of objects basically. So this is what we're going to be doing with that. I'm just going to say return, and I'm going to call student the student model like that, and it's going to import this automatically. And then I'm going to do a function called all, which just basically returns all that data the same way I wanted it to return. Okay, now in public function store, we want to first validate our data. And the way we can validate our data is by saying this data that's passing in, we want to call a validate function and wrap the data that is coming in, which is the request, within here. And then we want to put in an array that's carrying those options. So what does our student have? Our student has a full name, so we're gonna put it as that, full underscore name. That's the same way it will appear in the database, and we're gonna set it as required. We're going to go on and just do the same for the course, and we're gonna set it as required as well. We're gonna have a date of birth for the student, or actually date of enrollment. Okay, so we're gonna close that in quotes, put the arrow, the double arrow, and then set it as required. And we also need to set our data for it so that it can only come in as a date. Okay, so I'm saving that. I'm putting a semicolon over here because this is PHP indeed. All right, and then we want to do something. We want to store a new student set of data from this request. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to create a new student variable, and what this is going to be equal to is the new student, like that. So this is basically calling the initialization of the student's model, and basically now the student variable will have all these properties that you can point to: the full name, the course, and the date of enrollment, based on the database itself. So if we have a student, then the full name is going to be equal to, let me just set that up, it's going to be equal to the full name that's in the request. This keyboard of mine is just pure crap, but we'll move better very soon. So the student full name is equal to the request full name. We'll do the same with the course and the date of enrollment. So we'll have course here, and then we'll have the date of enrollment as well, like that. And then after that has been set, we're just going to save it into the database. So we're just going to call the function save onto it, like that. And then after we call that function, assuming that there are no errors, we're going to return a response. And the response will have the following content. It will be successfully successfully created a new student, like so. Then we also have a status code. Status code will be 201. If you guys go ahead and check your HTTP codes, 201 means we have created a new resource, and that's how we're going to be leaving it at that point. Okay, so if we save this and that function will work, we'll just need to import it into our route later on. And then we have this public function show ID. Basically what we want to do is we want to edit our data in the certain form. So what we want to do is, first of all, return the student's data. The student's data will be student find ID, like that. So this particular student's data, if we want to edit it, we first have to return it in that form, and then do whatever you want to do to change it. And then in update, this is the edit data that is supposed to be thrown. So if we want to update it, this is the function that will be called. So this is a get request, this will be a post request. So basically it will just be the same as this entire thing, except Because it's an update, we're not creating any new resources, so we're just saying that it's okay, the functions are okay. Secondly is we're not creating a new student, we're actually updating the student that we called from the very beginning, like that. I hope this all makes sense currently. So we can actually move on to the destroy function, which just basically calls the function of destruction, deleting the resource. So student find ID first. So we found our student that we want to delete. What do? We just delete. My goodness, this keyboard. And the delete function is a function just like that. And then we want to do a return, just this basically. Actually we're going to copy and paste it here. We want to return response successfully deleted a new student. This one will be successfully updated a new student, and that is how we do things here. For the courses controller, we're going to do the same. We're going to return course and then all, which is a function, and we're just going to stop it like that. Then in the public function store, we just need the course name. So we're just going to validate this, validate, which is a function, and we're going to validate the request, and we're going to pass in an array like that. But then there's only one option really, which is the course itself, or the course name. Let's just call it course name, and we're gonna put in a required, and that's it. Actually, that's actually it. So this one will just be a bit simpler, to be fair. We're just gonna call a new course variable, which will be equal to a new course. All right, and then we're just going to do course name is equal to the request course name, and that is it. We'll just call the course to save the data in the database, and that is what we'll return a response with, and we'll just say the content is successfully created a new course. Okay, and the status is 201 because we've created it from scratch, and then we end it with a semicolon. Don't forget the semicolon, guys. Do not forget the semicolons. They'll throw so many errors. Okay, public function show ID will just return what? Course find by the ID, like that, or it's actually a variable, sorry. And then that's it. We're just returning that data. In update, we're just going to copy this again, just go through the same process just as we did before, and we're validating the course name as required. And this course will be the same course that we just clicked on to edit, so it will be course find, and we go to ID, and then we save it into the database, and then we say successfully updated a new course. Alright, then in the function of destroy, just the same as before, we're just going to call the course find function, and we're looking for the ID itself, and then we're going to call the delete function, which then will return a response think we have it saved somewhere here. Return a response successfully deleted course. So I'm just going to say deleted your course. Successfully updated your course. I'm pretty sure this has also not been done in the students. So created a new student, updated your student, and deleted your students. Sometimes you need to really focus on your English. But that's it for the controllers. Now we're going to go into setting up our database entries. So we have database, migrations, then we're going to create courses table. All I just want to add over here is a column of a string like so, and the string name will be course name like this, and it won't be like having this. It can't be nullable, and it can't have a default. It has to be entered. It has to be entered by default. Okay, so that's done for the database table for the courses. Then we have the students. The students will have let me just do it the normal way. It will have a string having the name course, and then we'll also have date of enrollment. So this one will also be a string. No, this will be date. Date, and then we'll put it as date of enrollment, like that. Then of course don't forget the good old semicolon. Then we have the table, we have a string, and this will be full name. And it's a good thing that we're dealing with strings only, so that we don't have any complex data types when we're going into Vue JS currently. Okay, so 21 minutes in, we're still good to go. The databases are there, and all we just need to do is call a certain function over here on our terminal called php artisan migrate. It will not migrate our tables because we've not set up our XAMPP. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on XAMPP like that, but which will already activate all our modules that are required. And then I'm going to come in here into our .env. I'm going to create a database table called students app. I already know I have this students app somewhere inside. No, actually, let me just do I already know I have this students app database somewhere there. I don't think I really need it, but to be sure and to know how to go about it is I'm going to go over here into localhost and then type in localhost/phpMyAdmin, and it will open up. After this requires actually XAMPP so that this opens up, and I'm going to confirm I have a database called students app. Yeah, I have it. If you wanted to create a new database, then you can do so by doing this, coming here and saying students app. You can do that and just hit create, but you can see you can't create database students app because the database exists. So I don't need to do much about that. And now all I just need to do is php artisan migrate. It has some data already because the base table of students already exists. So what I'm going to do is migrate fresh because I don't need the data that's there. And it's going to drop all the tables and then migrate to my database. That's good enough. Okay, so I'm going to close my .env. I'm going to close this because I'm not going to need it anymore. And that's everything. Now let's set up Jetstream, and then now that's when we'll go and set up our routes, because there's a few different things that have taken shape, especially after you've installed Jetstream. So to install Jetstream, all you just need to do is composer require, and then we're going to type in Laravel/Jetstream. Jetstream, like so. So it's going to take some time, and we'll come back after it's finished. Very well then. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this thing took a short time. SSD rules. So it's done that, and I'm going to run the command php artisan, and you can see there's a command that has been added into our site over here. You can see the Jetstream install. This has been added there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in php artisan Jetstream and then :install. Now this command won't run right out of the gate, because you actually need to declare which stack you're going to be using. So I'm going to type in Inertia, because we're going to be using Vue JS, and that's exactly what is going to happen after this. So it's created a migration, and then it's going to run the entire command just following each other like that. Okay, so the inertia scaffolding has been completed. Now we're just going to run a few things over here. So there's this npm install I'm supposed to run, and npm run dev that's supposed to run as well. So I'm just going to do that right now. Npm install, or npm I if you feel. Then after that has already completed, I'm going to run npm run watch, not dev, because I want npm to watch my file. Okay, so npm run watch. So it's going to compile all the resources files that are over here. As you can just watch, there's nothing that is going to pop up over here until it ends. So there's also a need for JS to pop up somewhere here. So Tailwind is already compiled over here. This is all of it, and this is not actually. This is just the base Tailwind, the one that's meant for production, minified. So let it compile first and do a run watch, so that it can compile it into a normalized CSS file, and then also there'll be JS files that will be coming up afterwards. Okay, so you can see there's a JS that's coming up, like so. CSS, like so. Well, I mean, it's only when you work with it for so long, then you'll actually know that these things will happen after you've done a certain set of commands. Okay, so this terminal is taken up, and this terminal is taken up. I'm going to open up a new terminal, because those two terminals are first of all watching my server. The second one is watching my UI files. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to run Bootstrap on top of Tailwind, but there's one thing I want to show you guys first. When I refresh this, you'll see that the base table of view not found, table students app sessions does not exist. So that means that this table, they're looking for a sessions table, which was, I think, created after a few run-ins. You can see there's this two-factor authentication, and then there's also the sessions table that was created. I'm pretty sure there's some more, maybe, I don't know. So we're just supposed to run this php artisan migrate, and it's gonna migrate those new tables. Yeah, there's also this personal access tokens table that has been created. So that is what is supposed to run, and after I refresh, everything is fine and dandy, and you'll see these two new links pop up very nicely. Okay, so I'm going to do a register because I don't have any of my users. Now this is the users table. I don't have any users inside my project. So I'm going to do students. Oh, wait, I'm just going to write my name, sorry. So I'm just writing, my name is Steve Numba. My email is S, like that. My password, you will not know my password. And confirm, actually, yeah. And that's it. And after that, you'll see we have a dashboard login. Different from Laravel UI, where when you craft this application, you'll have a certain home section that's totally different and undercrafted compared to what we have right here. So we have a dashboard side of things, We have a profile side of things where we have forms to edit everything, and we also have this logout button to log out and all that stuff. So if I go back to dashboard, I go back to dashboard like that, and this is how they're crafted. It's all crafted via Vue JS. Watch here, if I change pages, it won't refresh. As you can see, it's not refreshing, it's just going to the page itself. That's the beauty of having Vue JS and the router being controlled by Inertia inside our PHP web PHP. Alright, so we're going to go to resources. This is where we're going to be working with almost all our files, if not all. And then we're going to go to the pages section, and this is where we'll find our dashboard. Now this is basically what is there on our dashboard. A welcome section, a dashboard, and all those things. If you want to change or add any more links, by the way, to all this is found inside our layouts, app.layout.view, and you'll see the jet nav link for dashboard. If I changed this and said something just as a text, it will change definitely. Because, and you can see it's changing because it's watching my files. It's recompiling every time I save anything to do with JS or CSS. So yeah, let's just restore that to default, save it, and put it back. Okay, and also you can add more links, so you can just decide 1, 2, 3, and that's good. So you can add that, but then these other links will not work if, like, the route is not declared. This is all if all these other things are not wrong, are not correct. But if they're correct and you've already enabled all those routes, then it's good, you're all good. I actually want to create another page, by the way, and I'm going to call this students. So this students page, yeah, will have its own .view over here inside our pages place. So that's how Laravel and Inertia usually detect our pages. I'm going to create a students.view, and then I'm going to just copy everything inside dashboard and put it inside students. And then I'm just going to rate this and change this to students. Okay, and maybe even remove this welcome, maybe not. I'll just leave it there so that it looks the same as the dashboard. All that's changing is the header, this part over here. And then I'm going to go to my app layout, and oh yeah, I actually already did that. Okay, so we've created that, but this link will not work. Let me actually even show you that the route should be students and the route name is students. Okay, so this will not work if I refresh, because if we look into here, we'll see some errors. So there's an error in render. The route students is not found in the routes list. So that is one thing that we need to do. We need to go into our router and change that right there and then. So how do we change that? We're just going to go straight into our routes, go into web.php, and then this is how the dashboard is being rendered, if you guys don't know. But I'm just going to duplicate that, do students, come here, do students, and then the name should be students, just like that. And then after that, I'm just going to refresh and everything is running smooth. Okay, so if I go to students, you'll see it's a very seamless thing to deal with. Nothing is changing whatsoever. Like, everything is working seamlessly and not much has changed. I've just added a second route similar to what we have right there. Okay, and about adding our API controllers, what I want to do actually is I want to create them over here, and then just to do a route, and I want to do a namespace And this is one thing that you guys need to understand, is that the namespace nowadays just doesn't look into HTTP automatically. You have to specify that it's going to look in the app folder, and then it's going to look into the HTTP folder from the app folder. Then it's going to go into controllers, and then after that it's going to pick about the student. No, it's actually just going to go there like that. That's enough. And then we want to do API resource, or actually we want to group it. Maybe group it like so. Now let's just do each individual controller as it's supposed to be done. So I'm just going to do an API resource for the first one, and then the name will be students, and the controller will be the students controller. So this needs to be in capital, I believe. And since that is done, the only way you can detect if this actually works is if you go inside here, type in PHP artisan routes list, and you see the target class students controller does not exist. So what I'm going to do actually, instead of doing that, is I'm actually not going to use this namespace function. So I'm just going to take this, chuck all the things that are over here with the namespace thing, and I'm just going to add that here. That's what's different between how we declared routes before, like in Laravel 7, and how we're declaring routes now. So if I run the command again, you can see the routes list is coming through, and you will see that our routes for this students controller, the API resource, will be listed, all of them down here as API/students. So that's what we're going to be using from now on. We'll do the same with the courses. Like so. And then we're going to call this courses. But this is essentially just uses data, ships in and takes in data. So it's not going to be loading any views whatsoever. So that's actually set up fine and dandy, and everything is good to go. Alright, students.view, and to remove this welcome bar over here and save it to see what happens next. So I'm going to refresh, and you can see the welcome part is gone. Now this, we've been told, is using Tailwind. If it's using Tailwind, then we can just go ahead into our Tailwind CSS and grab some tables for us. So Tailwind, I want to go to grab a table component. I don't know where they are located. So we found some table over here. I think I'm going to take this one. So this first table is good to go. Then I'm going to come here and just paste it like so. So let me remove this and that as well. I think everything is good to go. So the first thing I want to do is just put in full name, and then I want to do the course, and then I want to do the date of enrollment, and that's it. This next here will be for the functionalities like deleting and editing and all those things, and that's it. I think that's all. That's good to go. So I think I'll also indent this just a little bit. So we have this TD over here, which has a lot of stuff, and I don't want all those things. First, I don't want the image, so that's it. The name is good, let it stay there. I don't want this, and from that I'm just going to do something. Yeah, let's just leave it as Jane Cooper for now. Then I'm also going to come here into the second TD and edit it as follows. Actually, let me just go to indent all these TDs. The second TD, I'm going to edit it as follows. It's gonna have the course name, so let me just leave it as one word so I can see how it looks. And then this will have a date, so I'm just going to do 07/10/2020. And this last TD is not going to appear whatsoever. And then this next one is going to have functions of editing, deleting, and all that. Good. Okay, so what we want to do next is we want to actually create after this app layout, no, not after the app layout actually, because app layout is solely defined by it's the sole it's the sole component, the first head component over here, and we're using Vue version 2.6. We just want to do a div first, and then inside the div we're going to put in the app layout like that. Then after the app layout we want to put in a button, and this button will be of class. I'm not sure what classes there are for buttons in this entire thing. Maybe I now come and introduce you guys to how to install Bootstrap together with Tailwind. And this is what I'm going to do actually. So I'm going to do an npm install Bootstrap, and I'm also going to install jQuery and Popper.js, because those are the requirements, the required for this project. Then I'm also going to go to Webpack and add some few things over here. So I'm going to remove this semicolon first thing. I'm going to put a full stop and then do Sass, because I want to use Sass. And then Sass as a function will render the first resources file that we find. So this will be resources/sass/custom.scss, and then I'm going to put in side the public /css, like so. Alright, then after we do that, I think I'm going to have to run the npm run watch again. After we do that, I'm going to come in here inside our resources folder. I'm going to create a new folder called sass, and I'm going to create a new file called custom.scss, and then I will just simply yeah, that's I think that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to be doing right now so far. And then I'll come in here into my app, no, not in app, but bootstrap.js, and I will come and import or require, and I require bootstrap. And then I'll also declare some few things in the window. So I'm going to say window.$ is equal to window.jQuery, which is equal to require jQuery. And then I'm also going to, I think I'm going to also require Popper. So popper.js, like that. But this will just be this is actually, let me just do this. Popper.js, like that. Okay, so this is the JavaScript side of things. What about the CSS or the Sass? All I'm just going to do is import, and I'm going to put inside here Bootstrap. My typing is so bad. So bootstrap/scss/bootstrap.scss, like that. Then I'm going to put a semicolon because most likely I'll be adding some more stuff. Then I'm going to save also this. Maybe just remove this a little bit, or put a button of Bootstrap class. So button. So I'm going to do a button A or badge button, just like that. And I'm going to refresh to see how it looks, but there's nothing that has popped up because it needs to be inside app layout. That is so crazy. So let me just see how it looks from there. So there's this badge button over here, but I want it. Okay, so what this is actually doing right now is if I go to app layout and see what it's actually doing, you can see that of course it has the links and all those. There's the settings drop down, all those things, and now then there's authentication. Then what else? Oh yeah, then there's a hamburger, then there's the responsive navigation menu. We have all those things over here and stuff like that. Okay. Oh yeah, then there's profile, API tokens. Yeah, this is just that menu from the other side. Okay, so this is page content, and then there's a main point, which you just enable slots like that. So there's a slot name header, which puts it in the page heading, and then there's the main side, which is slot. Then what I want to do is I want to put in another tag over here, header main, and then I just want to put a div. No, I want to put a footer, and then I want to do slot. So it closes off like this. Okay, so if I do that slot like that, I actually don't know how to do this slotting thing. If I do it like that, you can see this template with the name of header has taken in the h2 like that from there, and then maybe, oh yeah, then maybe we can put a name over here. The name will be footer, and then with this I think I can just decide to template it like that. So let me just put the button like that, take the button in its entirety like that. Maybe remove the divs now that I know the app layout is what's needed to do all these things. Okay, and then I will do just like what has been happening here. I'll just do a template. I don't know why it's misbehaving. Okay, so this is how we do it, and if I was to slot it, as to give it a name, and there's a footer like so. So wherever slot the name, wherever the name is, that's where you put the hashtag. Whatever the name is, you put the hashtag and put that name. Okay, then I'll put in the button, which will appear definitely. Now the thing about this is we've not done anything to center it like the way this has been done. So what we do from there is we actually, if we find a way to center it like this, we can just Yeah, you can just go back to the point where we've put in the footer slot and just do class and add those classes. Then we see what happens. It's like it's not working. Yep, it's not working. Definitely not. Maybe it will work for this. So this is a class btn, and I'm going to do btn default, and then I'm also going to do margin auto for that button, so that we see what happens next. Secondary. It's like this thing has just decided that it's not going to work. The Bootstrap itself is not going to work. Is it because, oh yes, I know why it's refused to do that. It's because we need to actually restart this watch so that it actually compiles everything into our CSS right now. And then also we need to come into our views area, and where we have our where we have our app.blade.php, we need to import that custom CSS as well. So we're going to do custom.css like that. And then you see this has already now loaded a new dependency, and now we need to run Wix again. So we're going to run npm run watch again, and then we see it compile all those files back into our CSS. Okay, so you can see it's compiled a new custom.css into our, if we refresh this, we'll actually see it in our public, not our resources, but our public. We'll see our custom.css. So this button, on clicking it, will have to trigger a module. All this will usually have module customize like that. You can see this data toggle and data target like that. So I'm actually just going to copy all this inside our button over here. Just do that. Remove this button just like that. And then we're going to remove this script over here, which is usually coming in by default, just like that. And then we have this model ID, which I want to chuck and just call it add student, like I did initially. And then, yeah, the model is ready. I'm just going to say add a new student. And then inside here, we're going to add our new form. So we're going to add a form. We're going to remove actions. We're going to say add submit. And then we're going to do a dot prevent. And then it's going to be equal to a certain function called add student, which we're going to be putting inside our class over here. So if you guys already know how Vue JS works, then you probably want to skip this. But if you don't know how to work out Vue JS with Laravel, especially in this new situation that we are in, then stick right on through. Okay, so our form is going to have 3 inputs. Like I said, first we have to load up our data based on our courses. So I want to actually do this. Maybe add the second number of modules, second set of modules, like this, maybe like that, and then second set of module right there. then we can say add course. So this second module is for adding a course. So this and this first one is for adding a student. So add student, add course, like that. So when we're dealing with the first one for the students, the form is supposed to have a full name. So I'm going to do an input text for Bootstrap 4, oops, like that. And then the label will be for full name. The placeholder will be enter your full name. The label for it will be full underscore name, and then the help ID or help text will be enter your first name, then your surname. And then we'll have to put inside our input a Vue model, and this one will be full name. Actually, let me just do student dot full name, like that. Then I'll want to do a similar thing for the course or the date as well. So I'm just going to do input before. Let me just do a before input. So I want to do input sizing, and then I'll do enrollment date, and then I'll do placeholder select your date. Then the input type will be date. The form control thingy over here will just be form control. The name will be date underscore of underscore enrollment. And then the help ID or other help text will be date of enrollment. Okay, so once we have that done, I think for all these modules I want to remove the footer, the module footer, because we're going to have a submit button afterwards. But anyway, let's just finish the form first, and then we have also input select, I think, or rather we just have a before select. So before select, like that. So we're gonna have label for, oops, just go back. The label will be for the course, and then we'll just do course. And the first option will be select your course, and it won't have a value, it will just be selected and disabled. Okay, and then this second options will be now our courses with a value as well. So I'm just going to put a value. What the hell? Okay, and then I will just put over here, I'll just leave it like this, actually, as empty as can be. And then last but not least, no, actually this is just it, full name, enrollment date, and course. That's it. After that we'll have a submit button. So type submit, yeah, just like that. Okay, I think I should have just copied the same form down here, but we just need an input like this. So inside our form over here, this submit prevent will be add course. So that's the method we're going to be using, and then this will be course name, and then the label will be for, like now I'm just going to Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, and then just type course name like that. Then enter the full name of the course, and then inside here we're going to be enter your course name. Alright, and then we remove the footer as well over here. That's good to go. So, and then you see now this V model, I want to actually want to just put course name like that. Okay, so now that already describes what we're going to be having in our data, because this is just this is all this inside this forms are going to be posting methods. We're just going to put in some data over here, down here. So we're going to do data, and then we're going to, so there's students, which is an empty array initially. We have a student who has following attributes such as full name, and it's an empty string from the very beginning. We also have this entire thing, enrollment key, enrollment date, sorry, so date of enrollment, which is also an empty string from the very beginning. And then we also have there's something else that I'm missing. I think a course, which will also be an empty string from the beginning. Okay, so before we continue, I've realized that I made a mistake. I'm just supposed to return whatever is the data, whatever data is supposed to be coming through. Then let me indent this. So everything looks fine and dandy now. We have the same for courses. So we have courses, which is an empty array from the beginning, and then we have course, which is an array, an object that has the course name. The reason why I've done this is because this is like, okay, for me this is a better way to manage my data, especially for this kind of application. Good. Now after data we have methods. Now methods are as follows. We have add student, and then we also have another method called add course. Okay, so in add student, just like we did before, let me take you back to our routes list. Just like we did over here in our routes list, we have, no, actually let me run that routes list again because there are new routes that have been input over here. So we have our courses routes and we also have our students routes. So what we're going to be doing with that in this situation is, because we want to add students, we also want to get students. By the way, let me just copy this like so. We also want to get so this one will be get students like that, and then we also want to get courses like that. Okay, so add student. What we want to do is we want to take all this data that will be input via these V models that have been declared, and then we want to input it into our database using our controllers. and our controllers will have these various URIs as follows, like this. So in the respect of adding students, if you want to add a new student, we use this API/students formula. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to make this method async, and then we're going to say there's a constant called res, which will represent our response, which will be equal to an await Axios. Now Axios is our HTTP client for this project, and then we're going to say post, and then we're going to put in our URI, which will be /API/students, yeah, and then we're going to input the data, which will be this dot student, like this student. This is the one that we are posting. This is the one that we are getting, like we're going to put inside. Okay, anyway, you understand when we get there. So what we want to do is we want to say if, let me just do an if automatic. So if res dot status is equal to 201, so 201, then we can toast fire, and the icon will be success, and we can say title is going to be equal to res.data. Okay, now the reason why I've done this, and I've not declared this anywhere yet, actually I should declare this. This is from Sweet Alerts, a package that enables you to create very beautiful alerts and models and stuff like that. I think I should show you how to enable it just now. I'm just going to type it in. So it should be npm installer sweet alert 2, like that, and it should start installing immediately. So you can see it's doing the thing. Sweet alert is installed, and then what I'll go and do is I'll go to Bootstrap or app. I think I'll just go to app, and then after our middleware over here, that's why I want to do this. I want to do const swal is equal to require sweet alerts 2, and then outside here I want to do dot default, like that, and then I want to do window dot toast, supposed to be capital, is equal to swal dot mixin, and the mixin will be as follows, just as we've been given this example. Like I'm just going to do this and just copy it and then paste it here. Now this, instead of doing top end, I think I will do top right, and that's it. I think that's it. This timer will be 3500 milliseconds, and time progress bar is good. Okay, that's good enough. I think you guys already now see where I'm getting that mixin from. Okay, so if it's successful, show me the toast. Okay, we're going to add a course, and it will be the same function as this. So I'm just going to copy and paste it, and then just do API/courses. I think it's /courses if I'm not wrong. So yeah, API/courses, and then I'm going to do this.course, the one course, and then if res status is equal to 201, then success res.data. Now this res.data depends on the data that's coming in from the controller, and that's how easy it is. So now this get students is a certain function that will enable us to it's very easy actually to do this. All I'm just going to do is call an Axios get function, and then we're just going to do /API/students, and then we're going to do a then C or a dot then, and then we're going to say res. We're going to say this dot students is equal to res dot data. Just as easy as that. Now if we want to catch our error, we just console log it like that. The same for courses. To get our courses, we're just going to run the URI or URL like this, like that. So that's it. Oh, and this dot students becomes this dot courses, the many courses that have been brought in. Yeah. Now this won't work right out of the gate. The reason being, just like this. First, let me just make the data that's up here dynamic. I want to say that for each table row, that for each student that has anything to do with this, yeah, for each student, or that means we're going to use a v4 directive. So for each student inside the students array, and I think it's supposed to be capital, like that, and then we have to bind a key. That's why it's still linting. So for each student in students, then we have to bind the key, which is student.id, the one student that's over here, the student ID. Then display this data for every student that is there. But now we want to display the dynamic data that's coming from the database, which is the student dot full name, then now I think I've messed up somewhere. Let's just say for each x in students, key is going to be x.id. This will be x.full name. This will be, now this is what? This was our course. So x.course, and then we're going to do x.date over here. Date of enrollment. So the reason why I'm putting x instead of student is because we already have student inside our data, and I didn't want to interfere with the data that's, or rather import the data that's already here into our area, because I don't know if that can actually happen or it cannot happen. I am not sure whatsoever. All right, and then there's something more that we need to actually do. Yes, there is actually some more that we need to do. Like for example, inside our form over here for inputting the new student, we need to have course is over here. So I want to do another v4 directive, and then I want to do for y in courses, and then we want to bind the key, which is y.id, and then you see the value over here will be bound as well, and this will be y.course. And then inside our option tag over here, we also have y.course name. Just like that. Actually, this is the easiest way to go about this entire thing, let's say. Okay, so with that retrospect done, let's reload and see if we have any errors waiting for us. So we have some errors waiting for us, and the reason why that is because of this part over here. The areas where we have our methods. So you see, this add course needs to be async so that we can do the async await. So if we refresh, we have more things. So it's saying type error, cannot read property full name of undefined. And where is that found? Oh yes, okay, there's that. Okay, that's one down. I think that's all the errors down. That was the only problem that we were having, because once it ran into that error, it's refusing to go into any other errors. So we can do the add student first, and it won't go right into the table right out of the gate, even if I refresh. So the reason why that is, just watch. So Steve, your number, enrollment date will be 7th, and there's no courses to select. So you can see why we're having a bit of trouble. So enter your course name, and you don't have a submit button as well. So there's that as well that I need to put in here. So let me just take this button and put it in the second module right underneath this div. So we have that submit button, and then we want to say information technology, and then we want to submit. It says successfully created a new course. So what I want to actually do is I want to reset this entire thing after it's finished, and also close the module. So this is what I'll do. I'll give each form an ID. So this form and this form will all have IDs. So what I'll just do is, because we have two areas with that, I'll just do this. So I'll just put ID is equal to what? I think all of them will have the same ID. So I'll just do first, oh no, not all of them. I'll just do student form. And then the second one will have course form. Okay, and then I'll use some little bit of jQuery. Once the toast comes through, after the toast comes through for the first one, then I'll just do this, because this is the students. I'll just do document get element by ID, and then the ID will be student form, and then I'll just click on reset, which is a function. And then also I want to close the module, so I use jQuery for this. And the module is what is the module? The module ID is add student. Okay, so we have that in place. So add student dot module is a function. You'll take a derivative. This one will be called hide, so that it just closes it and after resetting. The next one is this one, which will just be the same stuff over here. Oops. Okay, I'll just paste that there, and then I change this to course form, and then I'll also say add course. Yeah, it's add course, so it's okay. Okay, so once that is done, I think everything will be working seamlessly. The only thing is taking into account our life cycle methods. The reason why I'm saying that is because check this out. Even if I refresh and go to the Add Student section and go to select your course, the course that I added initially will not have been shown at all. Now, this is the reason why. Every time we reload a component, there's no directive that states that all these students and all these courses should be shown immediately it starts. There's a lifecycle component that follows after all this, and it is called created. So the created lifecycle method basically means that whatever is going to run within this created function will run immediately out of the gate. So we need to call this function this dot get courses and get students as well. Get courses, which is that, and what else? This dot get students. So it needs to run all those functions all together like that. So what happens if I refresh? There's no student whatsoever because I've not added any students in the database. But if we look inside our form and go into select your course, we have the course that was loaded initially. I think that's very self-explanatory at this point. So I'm going to add a new student, and I am going to put in information technology, and then I'm going to put an enrollment date of 7th, and we're going to submit. And we have an error. It says 422 unprocessable entity. The reason why it's doing that is because if we actually now go to our network, we can actually see what is going on here. So it's saying the message, the given data was invalid, and it's saying that the course field is required. Now, why will this show really? Let's actually inspect our form and see what's going on. So we see this form group for the course. We have a select class, we have an option selected, disabled, that's option, and there's an option value of information technology that is also been outputted over here. So this should be put in the case, but this is what's happening. The reason why that is because if you look at this form right here, the select, you always need a V model. So the V model will be student dot course, because it's always going to be student dot course over here. So if we refresh and now we do what we need to do again, I'm going to put in the name, I'm going to put in the enrollment date, which is 7th of October 2020, and I'm going to put the course. So if we go back to students, we'll see have I saved this really? The V model is student.course. Did I save this? I don't think I did. Let me actually refresh this again so that we can actually see this from the very beginning. Student, course, information technology, you can see. And then enter full name, Steve your number, enter enrollment date, we're going to select 7th. You can see the date of enrollment also needs a V model. So I'm going to go to input over here, type in a V model, and then we put in student dot date of enrollment. Okay, so now that is done, everything is set for us. So we're going to come in here. From the very beginning, we'll start to notice things that are changing. So we'll select the date, we'll select the course, we'll enter the full name. Everything is done. The full form is submittable. Submit. So we've successfully created a new student, and if we open the add student, you'll see that everything is reset back to default. But this area over here is not loading. Now the reason why that is because we need to actually find a way to do custom events, so that every time we are calling this function over here, we will do an emission of an event that has occurred, such that if we enable custom events to be rendered by the created model over here, then it will always, like every time we run this, it will always refresh that component that the data is being enveloped in. So I'm going to call this function right here. First things first, I'll go to my app.js over here, and then I'm going to declare something that's very important. I'm going to go ahead now, because we have window.toast over here. I'm just going to do it underneath there. The reason why I'm doing this is for the custom events. And the custom events, you can learn about them in Vue JS documentation over here. We can do an emission of a certain event, whatever it is, and then we can also do a retrieval of that same event within our created function. So the only way to go about that is to create a new Vue instance as follows, but without any options included. So that's exactly what I'm going to do over here. I'm going to do a window dot fire, I like the name fire, is equal to new Vue, and I'm going to call it like that. Now when we come back here, what do we want it to do? What do we want this students component to do? Basically, we want to call an event from the add course section. So after everything is finished, or rather after everything is finished and it's finished successfully, so I'm going to do it underneath the if. It's called for, it's supposed to be done. So I'm going to do a fire dot emit like that, and then this emit function will take in the event string. So this event will be added course. So once this event has been called, then every time I come back here to the get courses, I'll be saying fire.on like this, and then I'll call the event that has been called over here after adding the new course. So added course will come in here, and then inside here there'll be a callback function that I will use ES6 on. So I think that's pretty much defined. Let me actually go back and see how the keys are. Let me show you. So it's a function that takes in the event string, and then there's a callback function. So as you can see, that helper has helped us. We can do the callback function like this as an array as an arrow function like ES6, and then we can say this dot get courses. So basically it will load this again based on getting this event. So the same will be for the students, I believe. So added student, and this fire emit the same, except let me just actually also copy this added student. So except that it will be added student. So I'll just put it inside the if. Oops. So I'll do this first and then do that next. Oops. And then I'll save, and everything will be working just fine. So I'll refresh, my student will pop up, and then if I add a new student, I'll enter my brother's name, date of enrollment was first, and the course will be, I don't want to put in information technology, so I'll just add a course, and then enter the course name will be business management. Now, successfully created a new course, yeah? If I go to student, I expect to find that course is on the list, like that, without refreshing at all. And then I'll put in my brother's name. You see, like the form has not even changed from when I last checked it, but now the number of courses that are required have been re-rendered. Just that single component has been re-rendered. I'm just gonna hit submit, and okay. Now here's the problem. This is not loading because I needed to put in get students. So I'll add another student and prove it to you. I'll just put a John Doe. Actually, I need to refresh this so that I actually add the student and see that that is working. So enrollment date will be 6th, the course will be information technology, and submit. As you can see, it works very easily. So yeah, that's it from me. So that's how Laravel with Inertia and Vue JS works very well. A very simple application, very simple, just add students. The delete and edit functionalities are not done yet, but you can pretty much get the gist of how you're supposed to do that. I hope I didn't do this extremely fast. I'm pretty sure I didn't do it extremely fast because I took almost 2 hours to just do what I've just done. But that's the backend, front end, and like configuring Vue and doing all those things to make things very seamless to add. And also I've covered custom events, I've covered Tailwind and Bootstrap together. I've covered the dashboard and the students. I've covered the Inertia system for system for routing. I've covered all that in this very one video. So I really hope you guys have learned something from this, guys, and thank you for tuning in. I guess I'll leave it at that. Maybe if you want, in the next video I'll do some edit and delete functionalities, maybe even just use Font Awesome for edit and delete, because I can use Font Awesome for that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'll actually upload this to a GitHub repo right away. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found this very educational, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.